You know, when you go to work on Monday, you run into that one coworker, and we're just going to name this guy Todd, just for the sake of it. If there's any Todds out there, my apologies. You run into Todd, and he comes up to you, and he's like, hey, you see that comet this weekend? And he never had any intention of telling you about the comet over the weekend. He just wanted to seem holier than thou on Monday, saying that he knew the comet was going by, and he held a whole comet watching party that you weren't invited to. And then he just wanted to come up to you on Monday and be like, hey, did you see the comet? To make you feel bad, to make you feel like you were worse than him. He could have just texted you. He could have invited you to the comet watching party, but he didn't. He didn't do that because he's Todd. Well, that comet, which only comes around every 2,000 years, and Todd's definitely going to make you aware of that fact so that your great grandkid can also miss it to Todd's great however many grandkid. Well, Afcon is that comet. Except I'm not like Todd. I'm telling you that it's going on right now. It's happening right now. Because there are 3 games left. It's like when the comet is about to begin its most comedy stuff. I'm giving you 5-6 calls. I'm breaking through your do not disturb. I'm saying, hey, you've got to watch this. And the reason you have to watch this is, of course, the chaos on the field. It is just an absolute disaster. There are no teams left that went to the World Cup from Africa. There are no teams left that won their group stage in the final 4 teams. No group winners, no teams that went to the World Cup 2 years ago, whatever it was, a year and a half ago. And we're just going to decide a new winner of Africa right now. And I'm going to talk about that. But that's not why we're here today, because another reason you really need to be paying attention to Afcon is because of the chaos around it. Now, there's been celebrations in Kinshasa, DR Congo, which is a city in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Just so you have some impressive geography knowledge today. The celebrations in Ivory Coast have been insane, but nothing so far has topped this. 2 seconds of absolutely scintillating television. The context for those that didn't watch this, because I watched it live. This is what I do, baby. Come on. Obviously, I watched it live, but it was Ivory Coast against Senegal. Round of 16. Senegal won the Afcon 2 years ago. Ivory Coast, the host nation, that were the lowest placed third place team to get into the knockouts. They got really lucky to be here, and euphoria, right? They just beat Senegal on penalties. Ivory Coast is going through to the next round. The crowd's going crazy. It was a great watch. Tremendous. And the first thing the camera cuts to, away from the actual action on the field, this dude, Onk right here. He's absolutely getting after it. Now, there's no problem. Look, I've got no problem with talking to another human being, right? Obviously, she's not super into this, right? But he's clearly about 27 beers in at this point, which his country's hosting Afcon. Like, I feel like the way his brain is operating in this 2-second clip is like from SpongeBob, where you've got some guy at the controls. It's like, lean in, talk. He is, if she's not there, he's pretty liable to fall forward. And I feel like we've all been there once or twice in our life. So I'm not blaming this guy too much. 27 beers in this case. I mean, your team just made it to the quarterfinals in an Afcon you're hosting. Don't drink 27 beers. I didn't endorse that. You cannot blame me for that. But this guy gets caught on TV. Now, I find this particularly interesting because I used to work in TV. Yeah, this was like a little while ago. Hairline was a little lower. But I worked in TV. I was a broadcaster. And there is a person, I know of this person's existence, who's in charge of the visuals that are put on the screen in tournaments like this. They're called the director. Now, normally in the US, there's a director and a producer, and they're working together. The producer's in charge of the whole show. The director's in charge of the visuals. They're juggling all the cameras and deciding what goes on the screen. And in a tournament like this, they might be separate because you have, as we saw at the World Cup, you've got your different language broadcasters, and then they aren't really in control necessarily of what's shown on the screen. So you hear the broadcasters say stuff like, oh, well, I hope we get another look at this or whatever. And then the director is just in charge of putting together all of the visuals, and that person's probably on site, probably Ivorian, and they're just at the tournament. Well, that director is looking at all of the camera shots on a screen. and decided that the first thing we needed to see after the penalty shootout win for Ivory Coast, once we left the field, was this. I don't know who that person is, but I want to thank them. They deserve a gold star in television broadcasting because we could have gotten the normal shot. Maybe this was the normal shot right before the director cut to it, where somebody's just celebrating. Maybe some friends hugging. You know, some little kid waving a flag. We don't want any of that. No. I want this. This is grade A, turned down at the bar at 3 a.m. cringe, and it's not even after midnight yet. On international TV. Incredible. What a choice. How do you make that decision in the heat of the moment? I mean, this is why these people get paid the big bucks. This is why this person is directing the Afcon knockouts, right? What a choice. Out of all of the camera angles to go, well, that dude looks like he's making a terrible mistake. And he was. For multiple reasons. Not the least of which, this is apparently a Senegalese lady. She's not even Ivorian, which normally, who cares, right? But Ivory Coast did just beat Senegal in a penalty shootout in the Afcon knockouts, which means if she is Senegalese, as this article claims that she is now, having just watched her nation lose, getting hit on mercilessly. And I can't imagine a worse fate. It's almost like this guy is, you know, this is Ivory Coast's final victory over Senegal. Is this guy's torturously drunk lean in to annoy this girl one last time. At least that's what it appears. It's only 2 seconds. But that's all the director allowed us to see. That's all the director gave us. I can't imagine the top 5 things that you don't want to deal with after you just get knocked out of a major international tournament, after your nation just got knocked out of a major international tournament. This would be top 5. But again, this didn't seem malicious. It doesn't seem like the guy is being particularly threatening. It just looks like he's being annoying and is probably too inebriated to pick up on social cues. Now, there was a twist because obviously the moment this popped up on TV, I immediately went to the artist formerly known as Twitter and decided to scroll because I need to make sure I didn't hallucinate that. Right? Like, you need confirmation. You need to go to a place, whether it's Twitter or Reddit or, you know, go outside and talk to a tree. You need to go somewhere to verify that what you just saw was funny and weird and stupid. And like, how did that end up on TV? And so I went to I went to X at Aliciousness or whatever, and I scrolled, and immediately this became a sensation. This is like one of the funniest 2-second cutaways. Makes no sense. Just, I mean, this belongs in Curb Your Enthusiasm. If you've ever seen the show, it's just you cut away and you cut back. What do we like? I thought we were what? And this was hugely viral, which is probably why you're here. Like, I'm pretty sure that picture is just the thumbnail of this video. I don't know. I don't actually have any control over this channel. I'm just like the hamster running in the wheel, and then the editors are actually taking everything. But that's fair. I mean, they do feed me like biscuits, and I have one of those water things that you like suck on. This isn't important. The picture going viral has an interesting effect on the person in the picture, because there's one thing that we have not talked about yet, and that is that this dude is married with kids. Yeah, I'm not in their marriage. I'm not. I know that might be hard for you to believe, but I'm not in their marriage. So I don't know, where they've drawn the line, and that's their business. It's not mine. But generally speaking, in relationships that I've had, if I got caught on international TV doing this, I would at least get a few text messages. And when this guy finally got outside the stadium and he got his service back, I can imagine his phone sounded like a machine gun going off. And as a result, he appeared on, I just want to make sure I get this right, Slide to Sly Show, which is a popular Ivorian TV program. And he didn't just appear there. He appeared alongside his wife and issued an apology that, of course, we have for you. I asked her for her number. It was euphoric. We were talking before and during the match. I apologized to the lady in the video. In the euphoria, I told her, give me your number. It wasn't mean, but she didn't want to, so I didn't insist. I want to take this opportunity to apologize to the lady, my wife, and my children. I have a couple of interesting takeaways from this. One, why did you put the lady before your wife and your children in the apology, right? That might be an issue in translation. If it is, then never mind. But I feel like if you're trying to get yourself out of the world's biggest doghouse, then you probably should have put your wife and children before the lady in terms of the list of who you're apologizing for. Just for next time you get caught on international TV trying to get a girl's number. Just an idea. And also, this is gentlemanly in a weird way. He didn't insist, or at least he says he didn't insist, and he totally respected her decision, which we need more people in the world like that. That's like a good thing. Just don't do it with a wife and kids. You're probably fine. Then the most fascinating thing to me is the idea that it was the euphoria that caused it. Like them talking throughout the match is totally fine. You're allowed to talk to another human being. There's no implication in that. You talk to the person you sit next to at the sporting event. That's fine. But the idea that in the euphoria, he's sitting there and he's like, well, if we win, I'm going to be really happy. Goal. Wait, what's your number? Well, I just don't understand. Like, if my team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFL, won the Super Bowl like 3 years ago, I didn't ask the person next to me at the bar for my number. That's probably, for their number. Would have been awkward if I asked them for my number, although that would have been a sign that maybe that was one too many beers down. But that also would have been awkward because I was sitting next to my brother at the time, and I already have his phone number. But it wasn't on the top 5 things in my mind in the moment that we won the Super Bowl to, try and get somebody's phone number. I guess everybody's brain works differently, but I find that the most fascinating thing here. All right, the match was great too. All right, see ya.